right, good morning, people. We are up here in northern Japan, in Japan's Tohoku region, and I didn't actually expect to be making a video here relatively quickly after the last one, but I ran into a rather interesting development here on our IKEA place here. If you've been following my channel, you know that we purchased a IKEA, an empty house last year up here in northern Japan, and have we remodeled the house last year. But it come with a bit of land and a couple of outbuildings. One of those outbuildings be the one that you see behind me right here. It's a old Japanese farm storehouse. You might know it as a kura. K-U-R-A for the Romaji version. I'll throw up a kanji, but it's a kura. It's just a barn. It's a agricultural barn. It is pretty cool in that it has the old clay tile roof, kuwata, I believe the word is. We'll take a look at that real quick. But as we've moved in, our house is pretty much done, remodeled, but we are starting to, look at the other outbuildings and starting to go through it and even use it a little bit. Now, as I've gone through this and as I'm cleaning it out and trying to get it, up to speed for us, I have actually found some pretty cool things, and we're going to go through that, look at some of these old barn finds. The Japanese aren't different than us. If you've traveled anywhere, one of the things you learn when you travel is that humans are humans, and there isn't, the Japanese aren't some, mystical monks where everything is a museum. This is just an old farm. Okay, and just like in the U.S., if you go to your grandfather's farm where he grew up and go out to his old barn, you're just going to find an archaeological treasure where everything is layered. Okay, maybe when you open the door, you see something that you purchased last week because you just put it in there to put it aside. But as you start to clean it out, you're cleaning out every layer. You go back another decade, another decade, another decade. And this IKEA house, the previous owner, he passed away about 10 years ago. His son was keeping the place up before he sold it to us. But he was an old farmer. He did some logging and stuff. And so as I've been cleaning out this old barn, this kura, I've been finding just some incredible old stuff that I think you'll like, I think you'll appreciate. We're going to go through some of that. I need to get it moved and into a safe place so I can continue, getting this barn up to speed for my usage. But I think you'll enjoy what I've found. Now, like I said, this was not a rich person's house by any means. I don't think they were hurting financially, but they were not wealthy as far as money. So the things I found aren't, I'm not going to throw them up on eBay and get rich or anything. Matter of fact, I'm not going to throw any up on eBay. I'm going to keep them because they're pretty cool. There might be a couple exceptions, but we're going to look at that and go through that. This might not be a very long video, but I think you'll appreciate this Japanese barn find. It's pretty cool. All right, so here is my kura. Again, it's just a Japanese storehouse. It's more storehouse than barn. It's really not big enough to be called a barn. It's certainly not for animals. It's an agricultural storehouse called a kura. And like I said, you can see the kawada, which is the clay tile roof. Even has the old. I need to look that up. I'll put that in there. But it even has the old clay, roof ornamentation, if you will. As you also see, there's a tile missing there, so I'll have to repair that so that the roof doesn't go bad. But I think there's some extra tiles out behind that I can use. Again, like I said, as I've gone through this, and you'll see some of my stuff here, I kind of got some of it out of the way because I'm shooting this video. But as I've cleaned this out, the first stuff that I took out was just kind of, junk and trash and everything like that, and that's to be expected. But as I've gone further and further back into it, I've actually found some pretty cool items. So, excuse the mess. Like I said, really didn't think I was going to be doing that much of a video of this thing. These buckets out here that you see, these are, I've been using them for trash buckets as I've cleaned it out. But they're actually old pickling buckets. They're not too old. Okay, and then some agricultural stuff. And the first thing I want to show is this door. This is the door to this kura, this storehouse. Big, heavy, old Japanese door. Again, agricultural door. It's not fancy. It's got the old lock system on it, so kind of cool. We'll go in there at some point. Probably, like I said, this is going to be a series of videos. I didn't really expect to be shooting these, but everything I've done, every step has been I found kind of a new thing. So I kind of wanted to share that to you. But what I'm focusing on here is this side little lean-to. I'm kind of restoring it right now. And this is just kind of on the side of the kuda, of the storehouse. And it's just a little open. There's no door. Okay. And I started cleaning this out. And the first thing that was just mounds and mounds of plastic. Like I said, this guy was a farmer. And so just mounds and mounds of old plastic. I've been cleaning that out. But as I got that cleaned out, I started finding some pretty cool stuff. I want to point some of this stuff out to you. First, right up here. This is an old Japanese yakitori grill. Okay, I mean, that right there, that's an old whetstone for sharpening axes and stuff like that back in the day. But you know, this first thing right here, it's an old, you know, you put your charcoal in here. It's got the holes here to hold the old yakitori, and then of course there was a newer grill here. I can just toss that. That's just junk. But yeah, that's kind of cool. 20, 30 years old, whatever. Now I'll restore that. I'll make a video of restoring that. But you know, it's not fancy. It's not rich. Okay. Another thing we found here, and this is super cool. This is also a grilling device. I need to look up the name. I don't know what it's called, but you put your charcoal here. You get a little charcoal fire going here, and then each one of these little holes, these little holders, holds a metal spear, shish kebab, if you will. That's not what it is, but think about it as a shish kebab. And then you can grill your fish or your tofu or your vegetables or whatever outside with it all circled around here. So this is pretty cool. I'll restore that, put a video of that up. You know, again, this isn't rich stuff, but it's super cool. I wanted to point this out. I'm not going to open that up. I don't need to ask my wife what that says, but this is this is all glass, and it's not fancy glass. It's just, you know, window pane glass. You know, you can kind of see it there. There's nothing fancy about it, but I need to figure out how to get rid of that here in Japan. You can't just throw it in the trash, of course. It's glass, right? We found these old tools. You know, a little looks like a logging dog type thing. You know, you put it into you know, there's been some very small scale logging equipment around here. I think that's what this might be. You know, you throw it into a log, and there you go. Okay. All right, sorry for that little cut scene. We had a neighbor drop by, so I had to go take care of, you know, be a good host. So, like I said, I was looking through these, you know, this box of tools. Okay, you know, that's just a little garden hoe thing, but you know, somebody actually steam bent, you know, a piece of wood. This is all hand made. I'll have to restore that to see if the blade there is hand blacksmith. You know, but the handle certainly is. You know. So this is just an old farmer's, you know, all the tools he left behind. You know, here's an old chisel. You know, that might be actually pretty cool once I clean it up and see where it see if there's any maker's marks on it or anything like that. Yeah. But let's go ahead and step through. And I have to be careful because this the storehouse has not been well taken care of. But it is, so the floor is I've gone through a couple times. I need to replace the floor. So. There is an old hand wood saw. If you're familiar with the Japanese whaleback saws, this is getting close to that. I found a couple of those, and I'll show those in a later video. Another thing I have to be really careful of. Okay, the height of this ceiling is for Japanese people from, you know, 100 years ago, and so they didn't have to worry about bonking their head on the roof. And so when they put the roof on, they just put these nails here. However, for myself, 6'1", and you know, in modern day, so we're all a little bit taller these days, I have to be real careful I don't smash my head into these. All right, now here's where we start getting into some pretty cool stuff. First off, right here in front of me, you might be familiar with this. This is an old rice mill, old grain mill. Okay, really, really old, handmade. Not handmade. I mean, probably handmade, but. Hand powered. Okay, you put your rice here in the center, and then you turn it by hand. Here's a hole for a handle. You know, it falls down into the center here onto these grooves, and then these two matched surfaces. As you rotate it, it grinds the flour out, and you get flour. I'm going to try to restore that. Obviously, the grooves are worn out, so I'm probably not going to be able to use it. But definitely turn it into a really nice conversational display piece. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I'll show a video of that. That's my intent with some of this stuff. Let's see if we can go back. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the light because I'm going back in here. I found this, and you see how I have it laid up here. I found this stack of old records, okay? And most of it's Japanese, but there's actually some like that. There was a Peter, Paul, and Mary one in here. Let's see if I can find that one. And again, sorry, I'm moving this stuff myself as I'm doing the camera work. So my camera work's a little the best of folk songs, the Brothers 4, New Christie. You know, I'll have to look at those. Oh, there we go. Peter, Paul, and Mary record. So I'm going to go through these. You know, I mean, and this was, let's see, it doesn't have a date on it, but this was 3,400 yen back in the day. So that's not super cheap. So this is a nice little stack of records, you know. So I'll go through these and I'll just do a quick valuation, not because I want to sell them, but just because I want to, you know, kind of look to see, you know, what's here. Now, I don't have an old record player, so as I could buy it. I'm not really into old records, but you know, as I go through this, I'll make a video and you know, probably try to sell those out. Because again, that's not me, but it's definitely pretty cool. Underneath these records, I had these stacked. See how the light does for me. There we go. This is an old cooking pot here. So I'll pull that out, buff it up a bit, show you what that looks like. Okay, we come back even further. There's a couple other old boxes here. There's another box full of glass. Okay. Now let's see what else we got. We got some more old farm tools. This box here, I opened one of them up to look at it, but this box here is an old homeschooling set. Full set, you know, looks like grade school science and stuff. So I'll bring that out into the light. We'll take a look at that. We got a couple boxes of these old Coca-Cola fountain glass from 1976. I thought that was amazing. Got this little, you know, boxes. So this is just, you know, I'll bring these out. I'll make a video, get them out into the light, show them a little bit. If it's something I'm interested in, then I'll restore it, clean it up. I'll show all that stuff to you. But as I cleaned this out, I wanted to show you where they came from. This, if that's what I think it is, I think that is an old Kotatsu charcoal heater. You know, back in the day when they didn't have central heating and it was hard to heat a cold old farmhouse, they'd have these kotatsus, which is basically a table that they put a blanket over and then they'd sit at it, but their feet and legs would be under the blanket, under the table. And then under here they would have this little heater. They'd put charcoal inside it, and there'll be a little recessed place to put in the kotatsu, and it'd keep you warm without having to heat the whole entire house. And if you, again, if you have a grandfather or, you know, grandmother, grandparents farmhouse, you know those old farmhouses can be really cold in the winter. And up here in northern Japan, it definitely can get really cold. So I wanted to get this video. I'll bring these out, show individual videos one at a time because there's just so much. But since I'm cleaning this out, I wanted to kind of show you where it came from. Here's where I broke through the floor there. So I need to replace all this floor. Be real careful. There are spiders and fairly venomous ones up here. There's also snakes up here. So, you know, if you break through the floor of an old farmhouse, you know, get your feet out of there. You don't know what you're getting into. But again, like I said, the light's not so good back here. So I'll get this stuff out, take a closer look at it, and make some more videos. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. But I wanted to show you guys where this came from. I gotta be real careful here. This is treacherous walking. As I back my way out of here. Okay. And so, of course, all the cool stuff is way in the back. And the way in the front was all this, you know, visqueen plastic agricultural trash. And I've been taking just dumps and going to the dump multiple times to get rid of it all. But I finally kind of got back to the cool layer. And that's where we are here. Now, like I said, I put a couple things of my own in here, but I haven't even touched inside. I'm really looking forward to show you what comes out of that. But I did want to show you this before I actually pulled that stuff out of here. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm really looking forward to exploring more.